Paper Traders, a show where two average Joes try to beat the market. I am your host, Eric, and I'm here with Danny, and I apologize, and I'm sure you guys are bemoaning it, but yeah, we were not able to get Kevin Matris on today. He promises us next week, but, you know, as a CEO, he's quite busy, so you know how that is.
My mic's not even on. I was going to say he's quite a busy guy. Yeah. I mean, come on. He's the CEO running this place, so I guess when we do get him on, it'll be a treat for both us and our audience here that watches us. So just look out for it. It'll probably be here within the week or two. So
I do apologize, to everybody out there, especially since Danny doesn't have my sound effects up, because I had a really good sound effect for that one.
Do it again.
Oh, there it goes. But yeah, we apologize to everyone. We know it's disappointing, but he'll be here eventually.
But there's plenty of stuff to go over.
There is. There's been a bunch of news, and there's been all kinds of crazy stuff happening in the world of the United States and pretty much the trading world in general, especially lately. I mean, let's just start with what happened with France yesterday. Trump decides to just get angry and decide to throw some tariffs out at France because France is going to tax, so what is it, like Facebook, Google, and Amazon based on their usage there at extra 3%.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he was going to throw 100% taxes on champagne, cheese, and I think it was handbags. That I had read.
All good stuff coming from France. Like,
kind of ridiculous.
Can we keep the good stuff off to the side a little?
Kind of ridiculous. It was very childish, but apparently he came back later and said, we're having a minor dispute. We'll sort this out, and who knows where that's going to go. But at the same time, he decided to piss off, Brazil and is it Buenos Aires? Not Buenos Aires. It was Brazil and another South American country. I think it was Buenos Aires, but yeah, because of the fact that he's doing a bunch of business with China, so he's going to go and levy taxes on imports of steel and aluminum, I think were the two.
Oh, great.
And that's also going to somehow affect, this is like a huge complex story, but part of it is he's accusing them of devaluing their currency to try to stand out in the global market because China is buying tons of stuff, and partially soybeans and other farm and agricultural goods from the United States. But because of the tariffs, they went and decided to, cut away from that and go to other distributors like anybody would probably do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an economist or anything, but I don't know. I just feel like he's on a tariff rant right now.
Yeah, he is. He seems to want to just like slap tariffs on everybody, and I know this is going to sound maybe strange, but I kind of feel like it's only because of the fact that the China tariffs didn't go so well, so now we're starting to feel a little pain. He's like, okay, where can we make up some of this money that we're currently losing?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I haven't seen the benefit of this whole tariff thing. I'm sure there's other ways of going about it. I'm not saying that there shouldn't have been anything done, but
this is just kind of getting nuts. Now it's like you hear about a new tariff every week or like every month. Like, we had let's start with, we had Canada, then we had Mexico, then we got China. Now we got France, and then we got Brazil, then we got Buenos Aires. I mean, it's like kind of starting to become like a never-ending line of tariffs.
Just a big conga line. Everybody's jumping in.
And why is everybody? I don't know.
It's crazy because it's affecting the markets, and I mean, with him coming out
because of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he came out and was just basically saying how he's basically saying that there was going to be no deadline to finding a solution to these trade wars, and investors didn't react very well to that. On Tuesday, we saw quite a bit of a downfall across the board on the markets, which I don't really understand. It's kind of confusing to me why investors are still allowing him to impact the market the way he does with his tweets and kind of rants, I guess you would call them. I don't even know if that's the right word, but
it has to do with the volatility currently in the market because of the fact that we're coming up on an election year. And let's be honest. I mean, because of what's going on with, the potential of an impeachment, that's kind of setting some ripples through the world. I think everybody's kind of looking at the United States like, what the heck is going on over there?
Yeah, but then he comes back today and he's like, hold on, guys. Everything's okay. What I said, was one thing yesterday, but today we're going to come to a phase 1 agreement by December 15th, December 15th is the day that our tariffs will increase even more. But he's saying that we're going to come to some trade deal so that it makes it easier for the U.S. agriculture goods to be purchased by China.
I feel like
So,
so they say.
well, it's,
We've heard this for now 2-3 months. It's kind of getting to be
well, that's what I mean. It's just like a
starting to fall
back
on
and
deaf
forth.
ears. Yeah, it's starting to fall on
It's
deaf
like
ears.
one day it's bad, one day it's good. It's a constant back and forth, and yet investors are still hanging on that whim of what is being said. I feel like it doesn't hold much merit at this point. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see what truly is going to happen within the next month or so,
Well, and
because this isn't going to be
and
resolved
I don't think it's
over
going to be
one.
resolved in a month either. I
No,
think that this is a way bigger issue that is going to take longer than a month to come to some sort of
right?
resolution. And the idea of him trying to say, "Oh, it'll be done by the 15th." Come on, man. We've been at it for 3 months. You're going to tell me magically somehow in the next, what would it be? It'd be like less than 15 days because today's what, the 4th?
Fourth, yep.
It's 11. Pardon me. It's 11 days away. How are you going to make that happen when you couldn't make it happen in 3 months? And while still pissing off the rest of the world by going slapping tariffs on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not all bad news because I mean, again, like I said, we're still making headways in the markets today. So
Yeah,
I mean,
things bounce back, but it's just the constant volatility and the
it
constant
stinks.
threat of something hitting the fan. It's just kind of annoying at this point.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, I guess, that I believe investors are just going to have to hold on tight. I think positive things will happen in the future.
Yeah,
The light at the end of the tunnel,
it's not like
proverbially.
this is going to just bring down the American economy, but I mean,
No.
it's just
It's just one of
ugh,
those things that's been happening for a while, and I think that
we're just over
we're
it.
going to have to. Yeah, we're over
over
it.
it.
We're going to have to push through it. We'll get there.
As traders, we're
so-
over it, and we want to see something kind of like level out, and we're just not getting that from the White House at this time.
No, and it's I don't see it happening anytime soon. Like I said, maybe a month or two. But this phase one is just the beginning. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Again, we still have that impeachment kind of hanging over everything. So politically
I was wrong.
wise,
I take it back. If you bring up my monitor here, it's Brazil and Argentina. I said
Argentina.
Bradosauurus, but yeah,
Okay.
it's Argentina.
look at that picture.
Look at that guy, just ticking everybody off right now. Just everybody, Democrats, Republicans, the markets. I mean, come on, buddy.
Yeah. So, I mean, with the political turmoil we're currently in, the markets are definitely reflecting it. But I mean,
feel
we're
like today
still
we're-
hitting those record highs.
Yeah,
so
I got a feeling
yay.
today we're gonna see a little bit more of what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not affecting my portfolio as much as I would think it would. We'll take a look at that much later on, but let's just say I'm a happy person at this moment in time.
For once,
Yeah, for
the first
mean,
time ever.
I've
here.
been optimistic throughout this
Yeah,
process, so I'm
you
just
have.
happy to see where we're at. And again, we'll get to that a little bit later.
I would like to remind everybody that we are on all your favorite streaming platforms, Facebook and YouTube and Restream and you name it. They're just everywhere. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We also are streaming live, so we can take your questions here and we can give you a little bit of insight of what we're thinking in the meantime.
Or just give us your thoughts. What do you think about what the heck is going on here in the current market? Or do you have any stocks that you're looking at that we could take?
Well,
a look
and
at?
while you're looking, why don't you go over to Zacks.com/promo so you can go and get our latest deal, which is currently Zacks Ultimate for $1 trial period for a month, and see if you like it. Zacks.com/promo. That should allow you to get into the tools, give you a little look around, poke around here and there, and see what we got going on. I mean, you see us use the tools here on the show weekly, and everybody here uses the tools. I mean, they're good for free, but if you pony up that $1 this time around at Zacks.com/promo, you might be able to see what else is available there to you for a very limited price.
Yeah, you definitely get a little bit more. There's a lot more that we don't show. Obviously, there's all those portfolios that the editors here run, and they give you great recommendations and sample portfolios that you can follow along with. So there's a lot more in-depth stuff behind the scenes that we don't actually run through, but we do use a lot of the tools that you can see that we use.
Well, speak for yourself, Danny. I will be honest with you. For the sake of the show, everything that I have done, I've used Zacks free tools. So
I have, yeah, 100%.
I haven't used anything that hasn't been available to any of our viewership. So for you out there looking and viewing and wondering if you should delve in, I'd say definitely do it. But I've been able to maintain my portfolio here all with the Zacks free tools, and that's been purposely so that we can all be on the same level until you decide to overstep your bounds and whoop my rear end in terms of gains.
Well, yeah, I mean, if people are following along with us, it's easier to have a one kind of single stream other than going to multiple different tools and bouncing around to different websites. That's just too much going on. I like to have everything kind of in one when housing. So
And not
it
only that,
works
but we
for
have those
us.
great tools like the VGM scores and everything else there for you, and
Right.
it just gets super in depth.
So, moving on, I think we should kind of touch on a little bit more news, which was kind of big. It's not a huge one in per se. It's going to be around for a while, but Google's co-founders are stepping down, which
I don't really think that's a big deal.
I think it's a big deal because it's just it's almost like an end of an era for these huge companies and their CEOs and the founders. They're all stepping down one by one.
All right, conspiracy theory time.
No,
I wish
not
we
co-
had a I wish we had a sound effect for conspiracy theory time.
I wouldn't say
We don't.
conspiracy,
But my
because
conspiracy theory is that the government is now looking to really regulate these guys, and the guys that are smart at the top are taking that money and running.
well, I
That's
mean,
my conspiracy theory.
it's funny you say that because they said that today when they announced this, or when they announced it on Tuesday, the stock jumped 1.8%, and they own about 6% total between the two. So according to the math, they got about $2 billion in their net worth added
Cut
to
it.
this. So
Cut it and run.
I mean,
Cut it and
well,
run.
the thing is, they're stepping down as CEOs, and to day-to-day management, and they're still going to have their percentage in shares, and going to have a huge control for the alphabet. So
Yeah,
they're
but the
still
thing
gonna have
is,
their
if something
voting.
were to happen regulatory wise, if the government were to step in and try to make some sort of changes or try to hold them accountable for anything, then guess who's not at the top anymore?
Not
Yeah, they got to
no.
deal with the board. They don't have to deal with me anymore. Me, I'm just an employee. I just work here.
Right, and who's taking over again? The name
I
is
can find that
eluding
for
me.
you. I can find that for you.
I'm looking at this article here.
Yeah, but me personally, I just honestly don't believe it's that big of a deal.
Here we go.
Sundar Pichai.
Pichai.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was not gonna do well with that last name. So.
I don't understand why it's such a big deal. I mean, this happens all the time. Yes, Google. This would be a fairly new move for them, but in terms of businesses and management, this is not
Well,
that
look,
big a
these
deal.
guys are still young. They're 46 years old, billions of dollars at their side.
Oh yeah, they're
and
gonna do something else with it for
Well,
sure.
so they've stepped down, but they've always been involved with kind of the day to day. They kind of slowed down since 2015. A lot of the stuff that they were involved with, they kind of started to not, be in the limelight. They didn't do interviews. They weren't on the conference calls for their earnings. So they definitely were taking a back seat. And this is just kind of that extra step of like saying, okay, we're done. But they were still very involved with the I guess, quote unquote, secret projects, because
Yeah.
they did a lot of, I
Well,
think what they called
I'm
was
sure
like
they gave them the
X-Lab.
thumbs up. They were the ones that were going, yeah, let's do that.
Well, that's what I mean. So maybe with this extra time and them being able to have all this money and, kind of disposal at their fingertips, maybe they're going to create something even more
No way.
crazy and
They'd
big.
have
than
to leave
Google.
the company. Think about it. They'd have to leave the company.
Well, technically they did. They're just board members now. So, I mean, they just have a say in what goes on. They own the company by 6%, so they have the majority voting rights. So if something were to happen, they could step in and just be like, "Hey guys,
No,
we should
it's
probably do this."
6%.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
says
think
that they have the controlling
They have
votes in
controlling
Alphabet.
share.
Yeah, those two
I didn't
guys
read
have the
that.
controlling votes in Alphabet.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, either way, they're still part of a board, and if the government decides to put their foot down, they're not going to be, universally responsible. It'll be the board that has to come down with it. But
Yeah, we'll see. I
if
mean,
I were these guys, I would
investors are-
literally take my $6 billion and walk away.
Oh, they have a lot more than that, probably.
But you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
would-
I know.
I would
do.
walk away. I wouldn't sit there and just be like, oh yeah, I'll stay on the board and make decisions. Like let's go.
Well,
Let's go start something else up. 'Cause
yeah.
I'm sure they're not going to have much of a chance to do anything like that now in here. And
Well, again,
anything
they're
they
not
do will be under
day-to-day.
the Alphabet. Yeah, but it'll be still under the Alphabet umbrella. You know what I
Mm.
mean? If they're working there and they decide to do something, Alphabet's going to want a piece of that.
Well, again, they don't work there. They're just board members. They just own shares of the
I
company.
wonder how
to
that
a-
really works. I bet you that they're still considered. I mean, they're paid by Alphabet to be board members. It's not like it's a free job.
I don't know how that works. That's a
Yeah.
very actually good question.
If anybody happens to know, please tweet us because seeing
I
as
mean,
they're
isn't-
paid board members, I'd imagine that they'd
Well-
still be held responsible because
Well,
they're
don't they
employees.
get paid through the shares that they own?
Well, I mean, that's different though. Shares.
so
pay
like by
you-
the performance of the company, they in return get their reward, right?
But again, it's a paid position. You
All
don't
right,
just sit on the board. Anyway,
We're gonna have to do research on that because now I'm fascinated
chat,
to
chat, us
understand.
chat us about it. We're sitting here looking. I foo a boss and then stand up. Good morning to you as well.
Yeah, good morning. Why don't you tell us what's going on
Yeah,
in
if
this
anybody has
whole?
any insight, this is actually an interesting question because I mean, my logic tells me that if you're in a paid position at the company, that probably, especially if you're a board member, it means that you're at the very top echelon. It's not like you're just working on the floor or doing coding.
Yeah, I don't know
So it
because it's
tells
not.
me that you're probably getting paid because the shares got to be something that's got to be like, now separate to the deal. It's not like those shares were handed to them. Well, I guess kind of the way they were handed to them, but like,
Where's Kevin Matris when you need him?
yeah,
Right.
right. Hopefully he's
Putting
watching.
him on the spot. Yeah, me
Hopefully he's
too.
watching and come yell at me after this. Because yeah, I mean, logic to me says that they're considered employees, so maybe they still would be held responsible if something happened. And if I were them, I'd be gone. The way the government's talking, that especially if the Democrats come into power, that they're gonna try to regulate this whole thing, and it's not probably gonna work out too well for any of those companies.
Right. But
I mean,
either way, I mean, they're welcoming in this new CEO with open arms. So
yeah,
it's definitely a positive sentiment that is going forward,
and he's
and
not
the
a new
changing of the
guy.
guard. No, he's been around
Yeah,
for 15, 16 years in
yeah.
the company. He
Sundar
was
Pichai, I've seen him on calls. I've seen him in other events that Google's put on. So I mean, it's not like it's a new face.
yeah, he's kind of like the Tim Cook. He worked his way up through the company
Ooh,
slowly.
I don't know if you want to make the comparison.
Well, it is the comparison because Tim Cook was one of those guys who was a part of the company for a very, very long time and just worked his way up the
Well,
ranks.
let's hate on Apple a little bit. What has Tim Cook done for Apple
Well,
lately?
I
You know what I mean?
hey,
Like,
look,
let's be honest. Since he took over, the
The
idea
innovation.
of Apple and innovation has fallen to the floor.
Yeah.
They're too busy literally chasing Google's tail and Samsung's when it comes to innovation. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like that's a whole nother story and rabbit hole to jump down.
That's the whole point of this show. We get down in the rabbit holes.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the innovation has definitely fallen off, in my opinion. We're getting the same stuff kind of regurgitated in different forms. Like,
And not
oh,
only
let's
that,
make a flip phone, and then oh wait, that was Samsung.
yeah. Oh, let's also take it to the level of, oh, hey, here's a new phone that's going to cost you almost $2,000. Does it have 5G? No. Well, I'm gonna go get a Samsung then, 'cause it's on the 5G network. Like, that was a stupid move on their part, Tim Cook. I'll be honest with you, I don't like you.
Yeah, well,
I think that you're destroying a company that had tons of innovation, was leading the industry, and you've taken it and dragged it down to chasing other people in your market's tail, and that's not going to help you. You win by leading, not by following, and you're following Tim.
well, we can see that Eric is not the biggest supporter of Tim Cook. I'm not either.
I was a
definitely
huge Apple fan. You know that.
I am a huge Apple fan. I
And-
still have my Apple phone that is broken screen and it's whatever.
I mean, I'm a huge Apple fan. I've got Apple products. I think that we'll say like up to like 10 years ago, things were very tight. I don't know any other way to put it. If you had an Apple product, it seamlessly worked between other Apple products.
Yeah.
And since Tim Cook has come to power, I have seen Apple's quality just go down to, I don't want to use the word, but we're going to say it's hit rock bottom as an Apple user's perspective. I mean, I have so many problems airplaying and pushing things and using my computers and the network. It's infuriating. And then you get to this latest big debacle about, oh, we're going to charge you $2,000 for a phone that it's just an inch bigger and has an extra camera, but we don't give you the latest greatest terms of network. Like, that's just such a huge fail.
Yeah, well, they're still killing it, and they're still one of the largest market values on the market. So
I get it, but I don't see them being able to hold that position well currently. I mean, I wouldn't be really surprised in terms of the handheld market. Highway or Huawei or however you pronounce that company, Huawei, they're gonna be coming to the United States. It's a matter of time. I mean, I've seen they've got a actual corporate building in Schaumburg here.
I don't know. I mean, Huawei's been banned
For now.
Well,
I mean, once according to Trump, December 15th, everything's be all good. Watch them hit this market.
I don't know that Huawei is going to be allowed in just because of that.
I did read that Trump had tried to get them kicked out of the American banking system. That was like a story yesterday, I think, in Forbes. But
yeah, it's a pretty controversial company that I think has been known to don't quote me on this, but I think they've stolen.
Guess which operating system they use?
I don't know.
Google's.
Okay,
so you know what I mean? Like, this company's gonna come in here shooting, and I actually had just read about them today. Their phone, except for the operating system, is now made completely outside of the United States, between distributors in China, Taiwan, India, and I think it was like the Netherlands. Was the other distributor. So the United States has been completely cut out of this except for their operating system. So I got a feeling that once this trade agreement comes through, Huawei is going to come into the United States shooting. I'll tell you, companies like Apple are going to be running for their life. They're already kind of running for their life when you look at the Samsung sales.
I don't know. I mean, there's just too much loyalty to brands nowadays. I think that's still a thing, especially within the culture of smartphones and stuff. It's a big fight between Samsung and iPhones, in my
Fernando
opinion. So
Lopez here says $1,000 for a computer stand. Exactly, Fernando. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking
oh
about. Like, you're
man,
not selling me anything that's good.
yeah. Well,
So I
people,
will go to the competitor, which will
it's
sell me a
funny.
better product for cheaper.
I'm in the market for a phone, and I don't know which way to go.
I'm actually
I'm
in the same boat.
yeah.
As an Apple lover, I really want to get away from it, but it's just I have so many other Apple products that they're all, synced up that it would just basically throw a wrench into everything for me.
Yeah, I have more of a fear of learning a new product. I know the user interface of Apple so well; it's
Okay,
like second
boomer.
nature. I don't know. Well, I'm not a boomer. Not that old. Anyways, but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, do I really want to change? I mean, they still make great products. Let's not phase away from that. It may be the same old thing, but they're still one of the best products out there, if not the best or smartphone out there.
I wouldn't say they're
So
poor
it's
quality, but when you're talking about innovation, that's really where
yeah, and we
they
may
keep raising the price and they're not giving you anything for it.
yeah. I mean, you're getting a better camera.
Are you?
Ooh, I don't
Are
know.
you? The
That's
megapixels
what they
aren't that much
say.
different from the last year's
Well,
one.
apparently they're better. So,
They give you a little bit more storage, but
I
let's get
don't
to some of
know.
these questions we got here real quick. So Fernando already had said that he's with us. The $1,000 computer stand is crazy. He says, as an options trader, I would put a bearish position as a hedge. Apple has had a huge run over trade. Hope anything can go down.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. And then we've got Kevin Yee. Kevin Yee here says, what do you think of Trump tweeting crashing the market days ago? As an options trader, should I be worried? Love your guys' app. Well, thank you. I'm sure they would love to hear that feedback about the app because they just re-released it recently. So I'm sure that there's been improvements, and
Nice.
I'm glad that you're enjoying it, Kevin. In terms of the Trump thing, we kind of already talked about it. He's kind of just shooting just to shoot at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't get why it's still impacting the markets the way it is, but apparently these types of things still are taking forefront on the volatility. So I would just be careful.
Well, with the
is my
options trade
best.
specifically, I guess if you're an options trader, I guess that your job is to pay. It's kind of like shorting. You're looking for something to move really big one way or the other. And I think that as an options trader, short of him crashing the market down a little bit, I guess there's like multiple stages to this. I guess you'd have to think about what you're in and whether or not it could be impacted by what he's tweeting about. So if you were currently in you wouldn't do this with the stock market, you'd do this in the commodities. But if you were like in aluminum, obviously that's going to affect your aluminum hedge. So I guess think about what you're invested in, what you want to trade as an option. Think about whether or not what Trump says makes a difference. And a third step to that is also look at what's going on politically currently with the administration, because I really personally think that once we either find out if there's an impeachment or not, that's going to move the markets up probably. So depending on what happens with that, it'll probably give us a little bit of leeway and a little bounce, because at least we'll finally be over it and we'll have some sort of forward-looking expectation, at least for the next year before we get to the election, which come election time, man, I don't know, you might be FUCT, and that's a professional term.
Yeah,
Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of my opinions is just I always be careful in markets like this. I feel like they can turn either way very quickly. But I mean, it's part of the gamble
That's
with
the game.
being in the
It's the
stock
game.
market. I'm not much of a trader per se. I'm more of an investor, which means I typically hold for a little
while,
bit
right.
longer, maybe 3 to a year, 3 months to a year. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess I'm not the best person to ask about that. So I'm just going to default to say good luck.
Fernando,
and,
I will say that Kevin will be on next week. He's a big options guy.
Yeah, he'll
you
be
would definitely want to watch next week when he's on and ask this question again, because he's also very deep into the political game. He will give you his bare truth opinion.
Well, I wouldn't call it a bare truth.
But we got jokes. We got jokes and jokes and jokes.
But-
Hold on, we got laughs too.
Yeah, but I think this is a great opportunity to kind of switch gears a little bit and take a look about how we've been performing with our paper trader portfolios. Like I said,
Before we hop into it, I just like to say thank you for the engagement to you guys. This helped make things go a little bit smoother because we feel like we're engaging with you. So
no, it's just more fun when people
right.
like to get involved and say, "Hey, what's going on?" or at least just say good morning, or "Hey," giving us actual tweets and stuff that
Well,
they're
today we had good
concerned with.
questions.
So hey,
Fernando's bet here is that back to Apple that the streaming service might save them. I'll be honest with you, Fernando. I got a feeling it's going to come down to Disney Plus and Netflix. Those guys are going to be the top of the heap.
Well, you know what? Let's hit on that very, very quickly because I dove deep into the universe of Disney Plus over the vacation.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, off air we did, and it was interesting because I'm reaching that point where I'm running through a lot of their content that I wanted to watch.
Because
And
you're an adult.
well, what do I now kind of branch off to? So I think it's, from my opinion, standing now, I think these streaming services that are coming out are going to slowly develop and give more content. They have the money to back them for the years to come, especially Apple, especially Disney. So I think these are things that we're going to see grow over the coming years, especially with content and creating a fan base with those pieces of production. Because, I mean, that's what Netflix did, and it took them like a decade to really get some really hard hitting, I think, good productions. But that's just my standalone opinion.
On that note, I think that we have to say that I had read that since Netflix started their streaming service, they have lost 40% of their library. That is an especially large number.
That's huge.
Especially large number.
And they're losing good ones too, like The Office, and I think they're replacing it with Seinfeld. And
right. So that being the case, and the fact that Disney owns most of these companies that had that content. I mean, you're going to be able to get, I can't remember the name of that show because, I hate it. What's that one with the nerd and everybody's the one girl and it's awkward because the dude's got
the laugh
autism.
track, Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. They've got that because they own Fox. They've got The Simpsons. They've got Family Guy. They've got, everything. So I think Disney is just, they saw this coming a while ago, I think. I think they just waited to see how this market was going to play out. And now they've eaten up everything they possibly can. They've got so many branches out there.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Apple and Disney have to create content as well. Like I said, once people run through these movies and stuff, there's only so much right now. So,
but that's the thing.
We'll see.
With the amount of content that's currently there, I mean, I don't really think that Apple is going to be able to make up the amount of content that Apple or that Disney and Netflix have eaten up.
They'd have to make that one like Game of Thrones
HBO
show
have you
that
heard of,
takes off culturally.
They bet the farm on that show with Steve Carell and what's her name. I haven't even heard anybody watch it.
I mean, I don't know that they bet the farm because I haven't heard anything about it.
There's a bunch of promotion about it, but ain't nobody I know talking about it.
I don't know. I think the streaming wars are something that's a very long-term thing. Netflix isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Apple's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No,
Peacock,
we're talking streaming though.
Streamers.
We're talking streaming.
Well,
I think Peacock's gonna end up selling the farm to somebody because I think that the standalone they're just done for. There's no way NBC's got enough to hold on to make that a streaming service. Then you got, what was the other one you just mentioned?
There's Peacock,
Apple just doesn't have the content because they don't own anything. And it's kind of like the exact problem you were just talking about with Disney. Now Disney's rolling their stuff out slowly, and you know what? I haven't seen. Maybe you can tell me. I didn't see anything about Disney Plus, Hulu, how that's supposed to work.
It's just separate services. So because you have the $12.99 or whatever, if you download the Hulu, you just sign in with.
So you can just sign in with the same credentials.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was okay. So that's actually good to know. But knowing that, I mean, there's no way. I mean, Disney is going to be so much larger than Netflix in terms of content just in a few weeks.
Well, look, this is a war, not a battle.
Yeah, totally a war. It's gonna be long
the
term.
beginning battle here, Disney may win for the first couple of months or
I'm
maybe
putting
2
my money
years.
on
So
Disney and Netflix.
I'm not
I'm
against
saying
you.
the rest of
I'm just
them
playing
are gonna...
devil's advocate here. So
you.
Because I'm on Disney's good side. I love it. I'm enjoying the app. But you got to look at the other side and say, hey, look, Apple could make a huge hit, kind of like Netflix did. I mean, if Netflix didn't have these hits and Stranger Things and all this other stuff that they got, would they still be as big as they are today?
No, of course not.
So,
of course not. But that's what I'm saying. They had shows that actually hit, and they had enough content to back it up, so you'd continue watching.
Right, on the off times.
Right, and so I can't even remember the name of that show with Steve Carell. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Don't
it's
ask me.
just
I don't
gotten,
know.
yeah, it's just gotten buried by everything else. And with Disney, like, I don't agree with you or disagree with you. I think that currently a lot of their stuff is for kids. You know, like it really is child. If you have a child, which is why I think their service is just going to kill. If you have a child that's under the age of probably like, we'll say 12, 13, 13 probably being the oldest, you've got this service.
The morning show, by the way.
Oh, there it is. Which nobody talks about.
And it's with Jennifer Aniston, which is
Is it
another
an
big
Aniston?
name.
But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have the service. It's a requirement basically. If you're a parent and you've got children, that you're gonna need it.
Agreed.
You know. So I just don't see how they can't outsell everybody because Netflix is not. I'm just gonna say no other service. I'm just gonna say that no other service will be able to put out anywhere near as much child-friendly content as Disney will.
Well, the corners have been set for all these streaming services, and they're taking their corners. So we'll see how the fight goes over the coming years.
There's a debate going on right now on our computer. You want to show
Well,
that screen real quick?
Well, right now,
Look at this.
I'm sure they can see it. Let's see. We got Fernando going crazy. Kevin
and Fernando are going back and forth here. I love it, guys.
Well, good luck, guys, with that debate. I think we have to head into
It's time to go to the battleground.
Yeah, it's about that time. So let's switch on over here and let's get going. I still love that animation, by the way.
I love how it's just so retro.
Yeah.
I purposely made sure it looked retro. That was the whole plan.
Yeah.
So
mission
accomplished.
On that one, yeah. We really liked how that came out.
All right, Danny. Well, you've got big news today, so why don't you go first?
Big news indeed. I mean, not big news as in that all our stocks have gone skyrocketing, but in the news that we've hit the green finally. After months of doing this, we had a hard-hitting start with Square. Unfortunately, we bought in, and it kind of took quite a big hit. But we've made our way back, and we're looking at Eric's. Darn it!
Oh,
let's look at mine first. So here's mine. We finally made it in the green. We're about 1% up. We used to be down about $130 at the beginning of this start. So we've made quite a bit of headway. We've made some decent investments to help us bounce back. Because as you can see, look, Square here is still at $67. We're still down on that. We purchased that at $78. So still some room to make up, but we've made some good success.
Yeah,
with
heck
AT&T.
of a bounce today. What was that bounce today?
Today, not much. So
according to my screen, you had a 27% bounce today.
Well, $27, 1% gain. So let's take a look. AT&T is almost a 2% change. Square's up 1%. Everything's basically up. GW Pharma, my marijuana play, is up almost 3% today. That's down.
I bet you that coincides with Michigan.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that there's a lot of federal talk right now. I mean, we're down on this stock. We purchased at 113. Obviously, this is going to be quite a volatile and crazy play, but I'm in for the long haul with this one. They're kind of on the skirts of marijuana. They don't really
they own the properties.
Broadcast it. Yeah. Well, no, they do the medical marijuana,
right.
but
that's my fault.
Yeah, no, IIPR is the guys who do the purchasing of, real estate. But anyways, we'll make our headway back. I feel confident in that.
Yeah, you're looking good, man.
And then Disney's our big winner. We purchased that back at $134.55, and we're sitting at $148. Thank you for Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Dude, that 10 million subscriber, they just blew that out of the water. Nobody really expected it to be
like
that
I said,
big,
if you got kids, you've got Disney Plus. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
That 10 million, if I had to guess, probably like 95% of it was probably parents.
Right. So I'm happy. I made some leeways. I'm actually getting some confidence here to look for better stocks to put into the portfolio and maybe grow it a little bit more. I know we had a little bit of a downtick in the market. Maybe there's some buying opportunities I've been looking for. So we'll have to take a look and maybe add on the next episode or in between and kind of give you guys an update to see what's going on. So that's where I stand.
Well, welcome to the Green Club, Danny.
Hey.
Me, I'm doing well per usual. You know, everything.
Usual. Look at
per
this guy.
usual. Things are just bouncing around. It's a little red in there today, but nothing I'm worried about. You know, I've got some gains, but nothing I want to pull out of yet. I too, take two doesn't actually count because that one's out of it. But
well, it's funny because we all have Zacks ranked number 3s, every single one of our stocks, which isn't a bad thing. It's a hold, so it's just
again, I feel like we're not day traders. We're we're investors. We're investing. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah,
right?
no, I
I'm not here
100%
to
agree.
pop in and out, so I'm perfectly comfortable with having holds because that means that there's something good probably coming down the line.
Right.
With me, I'm in the same boat you are. I want to add some, some girth to my portfolio because currently I'm only sitting at four stocks because I take two out basically. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping to add a little bit. My market value is very low, so I'd hope to get that up somewhere
Alright,
to like $2,000.
We're
So.
getting greedy here, folks. We're like, we got to get more, and winners.
Well, I pulled money out. I made some money, so I got to put it back in, right?
Very
Got to
true.
reinvest.
Very true.
I bought my yacht. Now I need to get some more.
I've cashed out, folks. It's over.
Exactly.
All
right,
but no,
guys.
I'm glad that we're both doing pretty good here in our portfolios. So it's good. It's good to see that we're doing well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
things are green. That was kind of the point. We were trying to show people that with very little money, you can still make money in the markets.
Yeah, you
And
don't need a lot. Again, we started out with $5,000. We still haven't even
Haven't
reached
even
that. I'm sitting at 2,300. I think Eric's only at like
600.
800. So
yeah, I'm only at 600 because I did sell off a large position. But
yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things that shows if you don't have a lot of money, you can still invest and have fun and learn about not only the
Trading
market but
paper.
economy, what's going on with the world. It really just gets you involved. I've never been really involved with the news as much as I have as of late. So it's just one of those things where kind of sucks you in, and it is what it is. But I'm having fun doing it, and I hope whoever's kind of following us along is.
Hopefully,
is as
you
well.
guys are all paper trading along with us. That goes for you, Fernando, and Kevin Yee, and everybody else. I can't remember how you pronounce his name. Fua Boss.
One of these days, he'll have to give us.
A phonetical
Oh, gosh.
spelling of what that's supposed to be. But yeah, make sure you guys are paper trading because if you don't practice, you're never going to be able to jump in. And when you do jump in with real money, it's good to have some sort of idea of what you're doing.
Yeah, you got to learn how to navigate this crazy market.
So thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, next week we're supposed to have Kevin Matris on. I do apologize that he hasn't been able to make it the last couple of weeks, but I am trying.
At the holidays, it's busy.
Yeah,
So.
you got to cut him a little slack. He does have a lot to do around here. He's got to maintain all of us and as well keep Danny and I in check, which is always fun, I bet. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you guys check out Zacks.com/promo. And like I said, Kevin Matris next week. Fingers crossed. And we'll see you then.
All right. Peace, guys.